Once a leader went to a village and told the villagers, "Come, I want to solve your problems." The villagers are gathered. The leader said to them, "Tell me two of your problems, and I will solve both of them right here." So the villagers said, "Sir, our first problem is that we don't have a hospital here." The leader took out his mobile and made a call and said into the phone, "There is no hospital in the village. We need a hospital here immediately." The villagers are very happy that a hospital was coming in a minute. The leader then asked about the next problem. "I solved your first problem. Now tell me the second one." So the villagers said, "Sir, there is no mobile network at all in this village." In this story, we see a leader who appears to be helping the people, but he is in reality only deceiving the people. What we see here is an example of what leadership or shepherding may look like today. On the surface, it may look like a person is being helpful to the community, but many times the reality is different. John chapter 10 verses 14 to 18 counters the hypocritical attitudes of leaders of the time of the presence and alternative leadership through the image of Good Shepherd. The text tells us exactly how we as the shepherds are to be. John chapter 10 belongs to the Gospel's broader theme of revelation and identity. Written in a context where early Christians faced exclusion from the synagogue. Shepherd imagery is deeply rooted in the Old Testament. We can see in Psalms 23 and Ezekiel 34, where God is portrayed as Israel's true shepherd, and corrupt leaders are condemned. Jesus reclaims this imagery identity himself with God's shepherding role, thereby making a strong Christological claim. The scripture portion presents Jesus as the Good Shepherd, where God is portrayed as a true shepherd who corrects the failures of unjust leaders. In the text, Jesus reveals the anatomy of true love through three distinct movements. Firstly, we can see the movement of intimacy. In verse 14, Jesus says, "I know my own, and my own know me. Just as the Father knows me, and I know the Father." Brothers and sisters, we often treat knowing like an information exchange. We know facts about Jesus, but the knowing Jesus speaks of here is the same knowledge that exists within the Trinity. It is deep, intimate, and unbreakable. Before you ever did anything, right or wrong, you were known. The Good Shepherd does not look at us as a static or a crowd. The Good Shepherd looks at us and knows our needs, our fears, and our potential. This is the foundation of our security. We are loved by the one who is perfectly loved by the God. And verse 15 tells us the depth of this knowledge is proven by action. "I lay down my life for the sheep." We can see that intimacy leads to sacrifice. Secondly, moment of inclusivity. In verse 16, Jesus drops a statement. "I have other sheep that do not belong to this fold. I must bring them also, and they will listen to my voice." So there will be one flock, one shepherd. To a Jewish audience in the first century, this was radical. But for us today, it is a reminder that God's heart is bigger than our boundaries. Often we like to build fences. We define our fold by our denomination, our culture, and our social status. We get comfortable in our little sheep fence. But Jesus says, "I have other sheep." This is actively seeking those who are outside, those we might overlook, or even those we might consider unworthy. The goal of the Good Shepherd is not separation, but unity, one fold. This challenges us: are we helping Jesus gather the other sheep, or are we building the fences higher? Thirdly, movement of sovereignty. Verses 17 and 18 are powerful. "For this reason the Father loves me, because I lay down my life. No one takes it from me, but I lay it down for my own accord. We often look at the cross and see a tragedy. We see a man overcome by the Roman soldiers or the religious leaders. But Jesus corrects this view. This tells us that Jesus was not a victim of circumstance. Jesus was the author of it. Jesus says, I have power to lay it down and I have power to take it up again. This changes everything. The cross was not a failure of God's plan. It was the center of it. Jesus chose the needs. Jesus chose the pain. Why? Because of Jesus' love for the sheep. The ones inside the fold and the ones still outside. Dear friends, shepherding involves sacrifice, humility, and the willingness to cross boundaries that divide people. We are also called to open our hearts and eyes to the other sheep, whom God is drawing into His fold, recognizing that Jesus' saving purpose extends beyond our familiar circles. Jesus laid down own life willingly out of sheep, self-giving love. Such love may ground our hope, shapes our ministry, and invites us to live with trust, compassion, and faithful obedience.